I love to smile. I love to laugh. I love a vibrant sunset with a nice cool breeze. And more than any of those things, I love to speedrun. And speedrunning is where all of that I listed goes to die. Even though I have a fiery passion for speedrunning, there is nothing on the planet that can make me angrier. Getting deep into a run that I've practiced for weeks only to have it all go tits up at the very end through some random RNG nonsense and it just everything gets cattywampus and I lose the run, that puts more stress on my body than smoking 20 packs of cigarettes at once, I imagine. But point is, I am a speedrun enthusiast. I have speedran various games over the course of like 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. I currently hold 0 world records, but I have had a couple world records to my name throughout this decade. Not to toot my own horn and not to reminisce too hard on the glory days, but point is, I just love speedrunning. And a lot of content I watch on YouTube is speedrun related. And today I want to talk about one of the most infamous cheaters in the entirety of this genre. Cody Miller. No, not the Olympic athlete, the Olympic asshole. That was a Halo speedrunner that topped the charts for many years through spliced runs. Just lying and cheating his way to the top of the food chain of the early Halo speedrun community, and he performed one of the most embarrassing segments that Games Done Quick has ever broadcast, and I want to go over that today. For those that want like a full breakdown on Cody Miller, there's a great video going over his entire history from Rocket Sloth. It is a fascinating story. The lore is riveting and deeper than House of the Dragon, but what I want to focus on today is the moment where he put on the clown makeup for the whole world to see, and the effects of this moment are still felt to this day, and it's been many years since this happened. It is his Halo CE legendary speedrun for Games Done Quick. I think most of you know what Games Done Quick is, but in case you don't, GDQ is an annual event that raises money through charity. It's a speedrunning event where the best runners for games will go and put on a speedrun performance that raises money for charity. And Cody Miller was invited to speedrun Halo CE, and it was a fucking disaster. It was only supposed to take like 2 hours and some change for him to complete this run, but it ended up going over 4 hours. It couldn't have been worse. He could have passed the controller to my father, who hasn't played a game in 15 years, and he probably could have finished this game faster than Cody did. I've never watched the full VOD, and I've never heard of anyone actually suffering through all 4 hours of this excruciating torture until today. I just watched the video from a channel called Frog Archist, perhaps. I'm not sure if I'm getting the name correct. But they actually subjected themselves to the entire 4-hour VOD in order to review all of the best bits. And by best, it's not like a montage of highlights, it's lowlights. And it is amazing. I was thoroughly entertained by Frog's video, so I highly recommend you check out the full video on his channel. I'll put a link to it in the description. I think they did an incredible job with it.
Whether it's I would really prefer if you be quiet, or this girl asking a runner to pause a game so she can talk about her grandma that died from cancer. Over the years, there's been a fair number of cringe moments in the speedrun community. I'm a Frog, and today we're going to look at Halo speedrunning signature cringe moment, Cody Miller's 2011 Halo CE GDQ run.
Even if you haven't heard of GDQ, I'm very confident you've seen some of the viral clips, because for a long time, this was like the cringe factory. This was like the cringe utopia. Every year, there'd be 1 or 2 massive moments of uncomfortable awkwardness that would pop off across the entire internet landscape. The cyberspace would collectively come together to watch some of these GDQ clips, like a couple of the ones that he mentioned there. And during the heyday of these cringe classics, Cody Miller's run sits firmly towards the top. It wasn't just one moment during his run that was awful. It wasn't just like 30 seconds or a minute of silliness that people, giggle at and shoot spitballs at. It was 4 hours of just this prolonged dogshit sensation of cringe. And its effects are still felt to this day, like I mentioned. There is the Cody Miller rule that is now implemented as a result of this, because it was so bad and went so long, so far over time, that now GDQ has said that they can end a run for any reason at any time due to scheduling. So because his went so long and they didn't end it, they regret it, and now they have a rule that they can basically end it if need be.
He was even mentioned in the Guinness Book of World Records for beating Halo 2 on Legendary in 3 hours deathless, which later turned out to be faked along with some, if not all, of his other records.
I know Guinness Book of World Records has lost most of its prestige because people are aware that you can kind of just buy them now and then choose the most niche shit ever that no one is ever going to compete with you on. Like right now, I could probably get the world record for longest time spent sitting in a chair while doing the Gojo domain expansion and also holding my nuts. Like, and all I have to do is call them, phone them up, pay them, have someone come out and watch me do this for like 15 minutes, and I guarantee no one else has done that before. But back in this time period, a Guinness World Record, that was a huge deal, especially for the speedrunning community. But it turns out Cody faked that and pretty much all of his world records, and yet he still had the chutzpah to go to GDQ to run live.
Let's hop in.
Yeah, like I haven't seen any of the Halo tricks or anything, that's why.
Don't get your hopes up, bro. You're not going to see him here either.
That just sets the stage so beautifully. People were really excited to see the Halo CE speedrunning tricks and glitches, only to get nothing. Cody didn't deliver shit. I could probably count the amount of tricks that he successfully pulled off in this 4-hour run on one hand. Rather, one finger. Like, he just could not do any of the tricks, and even just openly stated that some of them are just too hard, so he's not going to bother. What ends up happening is he just plays the game normally, poorly. And he goes from Legendary down to Heroic because he was struggling so much. Then he started struggling on Heroic as well, so then he went down to Normal to finish his run. It's a fucking masterpiece of a catastrophe.
Is Paul Miller related to you?
25 minutes.
That's not. He's serious time right now. Can't get anything out of him.
As we all know, the most entertaining speedruns are the ones where the runner doesn't talk at all or explain what they're doing. Boring is the best way to describe his Pillar of Autumn run.
For his Pillar of Autumn, I actually did watch it. Now, I think it's worth mentioning, I have tried to speedrun Halo CE as well as Halo 2. I find the runs to be super fun to watch, so I've tried both of them. But I'm too dog shit at the games to actually succeed at them. So I'm familiar with like modern routes for Halo CE and Halo 2, and I wanted to see what this looked like back then. So I watched this Pillar of Autumn run. This guy, it's like he witnessed a murder. Rather, it's more like he is the murderer. Like, he is stone cold psychopath for Pillar of Autumn. Like, it doesn't even seem like he's having fun most of the time. Like, occasionally there's like a little smile that'll come up, but he's focusing so hard. And he is still so bad at the game that he's there to run.
For example, in this room, the classic strat was to stick one elite, throw a plasma at the door, and make a break for it. Instead, Cody sits here for 2 minutes struggling to kill everybody. Even if you are going to try to clear the room, it should not take him this long. Also, why did bro not grab the Magnum? Have you never played CE before? I managed to get a hold of the high-speed Halo world records at the time of Cody's run, and the world record for Pillar of Autumn was 5:19. I timed Cody's here as 8:29. Not very good.
That was the thing that stood out the most to me as well. Cody hates the pistol more than Garfield hates Mondays. This dude just refused to pick up the pistol, which is by far the best option for this game. It really does seem like he never even played it. Now, Frog is a Halo CE runner, so he offers insight on how a lot of these things were supposed to look and how Cody did them, or rather, didn't do them most of the time, which I find to just be so entertaining. I really appreciate that.
The first real trick of the game at the time was where you walk over here, do a grenade jump, and skip the bridge. This saves a couple seconds versus walking, but we mainly do it to skip a trigger. There'd normally be 2 Banshees and a Covenant squad up ahead that we now don't have to deal with. It's one of the easiest tricks in the game, and there's zero reason for a CE speedrunner not to do it. Unless they don't know how to do it. Let's see how he does.
Oh, I'm the best.
Oh no. Well, maybe now he'll do the grenade jump. Nope, he's just walking back across the bridge. Alright, he got him. Now he can advance to the next area. Why are you dropping the Magnum?
Hide and shoot.
Man, bro, maybe you wouldn't have died there if you could just headshot the elite when his shields are down. Oh no.
Grenade jumps in Halo are second nature to anyone that has ever played a Halo game before. Even if you're not a speedrunner, you know about grenade jumps. Even if you just play the multiplayer, grenade jumps are like an integral part of Halo's identity for like the longest time. So it's so weird how bad Cody is at them when he tries them in this run, or how he just decides not to do them for most of the run. They're not hard to do. Some of them require a bit more of a setup, like some of the later grenade jumps, but for this, you just need one grenade, you jump, let the explosion blast you up so you skip that trigger. I even know that trick. I can pull that one off. That one's not hard for me. And I'm not a Guinness Book World Record holder. I think the most embarrassing thing isn't him not doing tricks or failing all the tricks that he tries, it's how frequently he dies during this run. He has more deaths in this speedrun in 4 hours than most kids probably had in their entire time playing Halo CE. It is shocking how often he is eating dirt here. And that is very obvious to people that don't even play the game. So, if you don't know Halo speedruns, you don't know if he's missing a trick or not doing a trick. But you know when he dies, because that resets his progress and you see him collapse. And you just have to sit there and watch it. And he has to sit there and stew in the shame.
But even without modern grenade lineups, they're all fairly easy if you know what you're doing. You mainly just grenade the elites as they come out and clean up everyone else. On the first ship, Cody inexplicably runs to the left to take out Jackals at grunts first, retreats, and then dies. Then dies again and says something you probably never want to hear in a live speedrun.
I've forgotten how to do this part.
He then adopts the strategy I used as a 5-year-old when the Covenant scared me, which is to be safe and stay on top of the structure. He proceeds to die anyway.
That section had me laughing so hard. I actually remember when I was super young on that part in particular, that was a big struggle for me, even on normal difficulty. That was before my gamer gene had fully awakened. And watching Cody do this section reminded me so much of me when I was a child. Like Frog mentions, he adopts a strategy most kids did back in the day. And this is supposed to be the best Halo speedrunner in the world, with tons of world records to his name, embarrassing himself like this. It's very clear that he doesn't actually run these games. He just cheats his way to the top. And the community started to pick up on that when they were watching this train wreck live.
Man, this isn't going well.
Cody was also in the Guinness Book of World Records for making the understatement of the century. After a couple more deaths, Cody decided to do something not typically seen in a legendary speedrun, which is to change the difficulty to heroic.
I was giggling hard when he said the understatement of a century, because it really is. This couldn't be worse. He just changed the difficulty to heroic. He just dropped the difficulty because he is struggling so much. I don't know how Cody didn't just get up and leave and just apologize, hey, sorry I wasted everyone's time. We're just gonna pull the plug on this. We're gonna mercy kill this right now. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm bad at this. Let somebody else run. Go to a break. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't believe. Sports fans, we are only on the 2nd level here. There is 4 more hours of this to go. He has only completed 1 level on the difficulty that he was designated to run this at. And he is already giving up, throwing in the towel on Legendary within the first encounter of level 2. You couldn't quit sooner. Not even 5% into level 2 and he already lowers the difficulty. It's one thing to fake speedruns, but I honestly don't even know if he's ever played this game before. Because even if you're bad at the speedrun, if you have practiced and played the game just normally, you should be able to beat this game on Legendary. It doesn't take the world's best esports athlete to beat Halo CE on Legendary. I did it when I was a kid. And yet Cody Miller, supposedly the best of Halo CE, can't even beat the 2nd level on it. That is so embarrassing. People that are playing this game for the first time or practicing the speedrun, learning it for the first time, don't look as bad as Cody did.
Cody successfully does a cutscene skip on the light bridge, but more importantly answers a question about what tricks he's going to do.
Doeslight asks, Cody, are you doing AOT CR fall, Silent Cartographer launch, and or Keys Shield Bump?
Key shield bump, no. Assault in the control room, maybe. Silent Cartographer, definitely.
I don't know what's funnier, them feeling the need to ask if he was going to do basic tricks, or him saying yes to only one.
I would go to Legendary for the library.
Cody is saying he would raise the difficulty on the library. Keep this statement in the back of your mind.
Get hyped, Twitch chat. He's going to maybe do 1 trick out of 3 basic ones that were requested. Why are you there? He openly states that he didn't practice this. He hadn't touched the game in 2 years. Though I'm going to call baloney on that. I think that's a load of goddamn horseradish. I don't think he's ever really touched the game other than some editing software when he was splicing his runs together. I think he just really liked being the big guy in Halo speedrunning. And this GDQ segment made him the big clown, the spittoon that everyone was taking turns hawking a loogie into because, hooey, it was rough.
Just because I haven't practiced this game in like 2 years, this is pretty tough.
Then why did you agree to do it? In runs now, we'll pretty much just run past this entire opening. In every old run I'd seen before, they'd stay back here and take guys out, so I figured Cody would do the same, but he attempted to rush and completely failed at it. He then walks off a cliff by accident. Expert commentary here, don't walk off the cliff. But it's okay, because now he's worked his way back and ready to push through. He did it again. That wasn't a replay. He actually did it again. He dies his third attempt too, but at least it was in a conventional way.
It's not like Cody was kidnapped and forced to run Halo CE. He had plenty of time to practice this game. I don't know why he's like almost proud of saying like, oh yes, well, I haven't actually played Halo CE in the last 2 years, so it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. It's a little more difficult than I would have expected, but it's nothing for an elite gamer such as myself. I just had to drop the difficulty once, and now I'm doing totally fine, and then immediately proceeds to die 3 times in the opening segment of the next level. 2 of them to just running off of a cliff. Like, he's not even familiar with the fucking levels. Like, I really don't think he had ever played much Halo CE before this event. There is 10 levels in Halo CE. We are 40 minutes in, and we are only on the 3rd. You can see how miserable this was for viewers, for the, God bless their soul, the spectators subjected to the in-person disaster here, watching Cody run this, and just for anyone with eyes that happened to be, glancing at the screen when this was on someone's monitor. This is so embarrassing to even just look at, and it just goes on for so long.
Progress. Around the 50-minute mark, the chat starts asking if someone other than Cody can try to play.
Bob the Champ, only Cody Miller will be playing Halo. No one else is taking the controller.
I bet they regret that decision now. Someone should have just walked up and slapped the controller out of his hands and turned off the TV and just went to the next game. Like, chat, I think, was totally right to ask for anybody else to play this.
On Legendary, there's 10 waves with random spawns. Some of these waves will have gold sword elites, while others will just be jackals and or grunts. When playing on Heroic, like Cody, instead of gold elites, you get stealth elites. Cody gives himself a dose of copium by arguing that stealth elites, which have no shields, are actually stronger than gold elites, the highest ranking elites in the game.
In Legendary, those guys are gold, so it's actually, it can be somewhat more difficult on Heroic.
I do love that. I think that's great. Yeah, I know I dropped the difficulty, but it's only because I actually wanted more of a challenge for myself. You see, this one specific segment is actually significantly harder on Heroic, because the elites, you see, they're not gold elites, they're a rank lower, which is actually 15 ranks higher than gold elites. You guys wouldn't understand, you're not in the Halo speedrunning community.
Eventually he makes it through though, and now it's time for the first major embarrassing trick screw up of the run. However, I also found old runs that did this. This is from famous Halo runner Subwhistle. This is 3 plasmas and 1 frag to get you all the way onto the dropship. Cody does a weird amalgamation of this where he throws 3 plasmas like he's gonna do the dropship jump, but then he doesn't throw the last frag. The results are less than desired.
Oh, not quite. Oh, damn it, I have to jump. You know what, we'll just do this normally.
You can hear how deflated everyone in that room is when he says, we'll just do this normally. He gives up really quickly on this trick, by the way. So, Frog went on to explain that grenade jump has existed in runs as far back as 2007. So that strategy, like, that was cemented in Halo speedrunning when Cody was doing this, and he just couldn't do it. So then he gives up on that, does it normally, which adds an unbelievable amount of time to this run. By the time Cody finishes this run, we'll have probably already experienced a new Pangea on the globe. It is crazy how slow he is going. And he is this miasma of misery that is sucking all of the fun out of that room like a Dementor. Like, everyone in that room looks miserable. That is like the most joyless room I've ever seen on camera there. Everybody looks so bored out of their mind because Cody cannot do any of the tricks and he can't even play the game well. So it's just this agonizing experience just watching it.
Instead, Cody just plays through the level normally while dying a bunch of times.
You don't need to press that button.
Oh shoot, I think you're right, I do have to press that
Blow
button.
stuff up.
No, you don't. Hurry up.
He gets backseat gamed by chat who are trying to like coach him through how to play Halo and where to go. And then even people around him are like, hey, do you need to do that? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, no, you're right. I do need to do that. And you don't. Like he is just not even familiar with the game that he is now playing. And yet he agreed to do this and didn't bother to do the bare minimum of at least trying to play through it once on Legendary maybe before coming to this event.
Cody actually knows what to do here. He's not good at any of it, but he knows what to do. Basically, you turn around at the start, grab this Warthog, drive into the facility, and fling yourself through this door before it locks. Normally, you'd have to go to a different part of the island to unlock it, but with that and then falling off in such a way that we don't die, we skip a huge chunk of this level. Let's see how Cody does.
Get through it, but if you go around, if you
It's pretty slick if you see the high-speed Halo. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, he actually got it. Let's see the fall off.
Oh wow, yeah, that skips a lot of levels.
So now,
Another skip.
here comes the hard part.
Eventually he gets it, then after messing up the simplest grenade jump imaginable a couple times, he gets an active camo and is able to run back to the top.
Failing the grenade jumps in the previous level added an extra 37-ish minutes to this total runtime here, and in the following level, he actually does finally pull off a trick. And it's a trick I love. Silent Cartographer is a great level, as Frog also mentions, and I really think that that trick is just so silly and fun. I am able to do that pretty consistently, or at least I was when I was actively trying to learn this route. And Cody does get it within, the first 10 attempts, which, all things considered with this is not terrible.
It's maybe an attempt to trick. What?
Are you kidding?
Alright, so this level still wasn't good, but at least it wasn't half an hour. On the Cody curve, this is a colossal W. Unfortunately, it's followed by maybe the biggest L of the entire run. Assault in the Control Room is a pretty simple level, especially back in 2011. So you fight your way through the first room to the bridge. From the bridge, there's a trick called Bridge Fall, which was a legendary strat for a long time, but now is only done on easy runs. There's 3 falls, the first one off the bridge, the second one onto a ledge, and then the third jump just to get down.
Huzzah! Another trick that I am very familiar with. I know this trick and have done it many times. It's actually pretty tough. Like, this one I struggled with as well, but I don't claim to be the best Halo CE runner that's ever lived. I wasn't born to speedrun Halo CE, I merely tried to learn it. It wasn't embedded deep within my DNA or anything, and I can get the trick most times, and let's see how Cody does with it.
Oh my god, he got it. Now he just needs to fall off the right way. You have got to be kidding me. After several minutes of trying, Cody gave up, and instead of beating the longest level in the game in about 7 minutes, he now has to play through it in its entirety. And I have to sit through the entire thing.
23 attempts and he didn't get it, so he once again waved the white flag and just decided to play through the level normally. He should have just kept doing it until he finally hit it. He would eventually get lucky if he just kept banging his head against the wall. It is not a trick that is RNG dependent. It is a skill issue. You can hit that trick every time once you figure out how to do it properly. And yet, Cody he has no idea. Like, he understands the concept, but he's probably never actually done it before. So in the run, he didn't have any confidence in it. After 23 attempts, he just said, alright, fuck it, we'll do it live, plays the level normally, but he's bad at the game, so playing the level normally takes fucking 5 times as long. This is the longest level in the game, made even longer by someone as bad as Cody playing it. That is the worst combination for a Games Done Quick speedrun event. Truly, hats off to Frog for sitting through all of this. It is excruciating, even just watching like the condensed version of it.
Pro gamer stuff right here, folks. Why are you waiting for a Marine to get in? You're literally getting out right up here. There's a skip here I was hoping he'd know about. He didn't, of course, but you can actually hop on this glass and get to the other side early. This skip's like another 5 minutes at least. For Cody, it would have saved 17 minutes. Worth noting, Cody's time estimate for this run, the time that the event was planning around, was 2 hours. Now well past the 2-hour mark, Cody is still on level 5 of 10.
Oh, music to my ears. He's halfway through the game and already 12 minutes over the estimated time. Usually the time estimation is higher than you need it to be just in case to give you a little buffer when it comes to these things, and yet Cody is already well over that. That's amazing. Chef's kiss. And it just keeps getting worse.
Going, what is this? What is that? Cortana, what is this? And that's the story.
You have got to be kidding me. He actually did it. It took him 43 minutes longer than it should have, but still, he actually did it.
like, you don't have a chance.
Stop dropping the Magnum. This level isn't very hard, and Cody, despite a couple stupid deaths, is getting through it. Really, the only difficulty in this one is navigating your way through the facility, which is meant to be confusing. But for an experienced runner, that shouldn't be a problem. Wait, where is he going? This is back the way you came. What are you doing?
43 extra minutes of playtime, baby. I view that as a positive thing. That's 43 extra minutes of fun. We're going overtime on fun, baby. That's great. Now the next level is supposed to be really easy, and as Frog mentions, the only thing that can kind of be a little bit of a hang-up is just getting lost, because it is kind of a confusing layout. But for an experienced runner, or even a novice runner who's like at least played the level a couple of times, even just casually, you'd probably know where to go.
There was grunts in the room before this one.
See, now I'm like actually legitimately lost.
You agreed to speedrun this game, and you don't even know where to go. And you just died, and now we're all the way back to the start of the reveal room. Oh my fuck.
Was actually manning the donation counter.
He just did a grenade jump to get back where he started. He actually made it to the shotgun room. We are so back.
I don't know if Cody just had amnesia or something, like maybe the Men in Black showed up and neuralized all of the knowledge of Halo CE out of his brain, but I just don't know how you can wander around aimlessly in a game that you're supposed to be really familiar with, or agree to do this without ever even like really playing the game.
So after this elevator he's on now, there's a trick called Camo Jump or Camo Jumo, where we grab active camo, do a jump you're not supposed to be able to do, and then you can run basically to the end while camouflaged. After grabbing camo, Cody tries to grenade jump and fails horribly. He didn't attempt it again. Any semblance of this being a speedrun has now completely vanished, and everyone in the room looks embarrassed for Cody. To start the library, Cody saves and quits and lowers the difficulty to normal. I will now remind you of this from earlier.
I would go to Legendary for the library.
After getting lost and dying more times than a Mr. Meeseeks, Cody finally just says, "I'm tired of embarrassing myself to this degree," and lowers the difficulty even further to normal. I think he should have just went all the way and set it to easy, because even on normal, he is struggling.
He was also getting bad checkpoint luck, and there were a few times where he died, missed a checkpoint, and went back 2+ minutes. Pain. A little over the 3-hour mark, a woman enters the room before quickly making the correct decision to leave. I counted 7 deaths for Cody on the library despite playing on normal. I can only imagine the comedy that would have ensued had he tried it on Legendary.
I don't even know if it'd necessarily be comedy, because Cody would still be on that level in that room today if he set the difficulty to Legendary. He could hardly get through it on normal. On Legendary, he'd need to be calling in the goddamn A-team to assist him with this. He'd need the game genie and cheat codes out here.
So how about them Jets, boys?
How about that Julian Assange, huh?
Yeah, Julian Assange.
Talk about him.
At this point, they're desperately trying to find anything other than the game to talk about.
I'm so wanting this to end right now.
Me too, Cody. Me too.
I know you guys are hating me right now.
No.
This is one of the most awkward things I have ever sat through.
Someone, Cody, is trying to remind you there's a ghost somewhere near.
Ask them where, because I forget.
By the shade turret.
Even the chat is trying to backseat game for him.
The realization that this is probably one of the worst moments in GDQ history starts to hit Cody, and he becomes very self-aware about it, like, yeah, you guys are probably really mad about this right now. Oh, I can't wait for this to end. Like, yes, Cody, you have wasted everyone's time. You lied about all your world records, you cheated on all of it, and yet you still decided to come out here taking this spot from somebody else and wasting an entire afternoon of not only all the people in the room, but all the people watching, or that were watching, wanting to see interesting things, to get excited and raise money for a good cause, but instead, they're just sitting here, head in their hands, having to wait for you to finish this run. Like, you yourself could have just ended it. When you said you wanted it to end, you could have just fucking pulled the power cord out from it and gone home. And you probably would have received a standing ovation for that. Like, that would have taken a lot more strength than sticking this out. This sucks, man. Frog showcased every single one of Cody's deaths during this level, and keep in mind, this is on normal difficulty. Holy shit.
21. He died 21 times in one level playing on normal at an event where he was invited to play on Legendary. It took him over 40 minutes on normal when the Legendary record at the time was 17:23. Anyway, on to keys.
How is that even possible? You have to be beyond turbo ass to take over 20 deaths in a single level on normal difficulty. compared to the rest of the series, Halo CE's normal difficulty is pretty forgiving in my opinion. I don't know how he managed to die that many times. I'm almost like more impressed by that than I would be if he actually did this run properly. I'm really wondering how Cody was ever even able to gather enough footage to even splice together runs and fool people in the first place. I don't even know how he had enough footage of him being alive in Halo CE to splice runs to cheat to the top of the leaderboard, because it seems like he spends more time dead in Halo CE than alive.
Keys should have been the shortest level of the run. This is another trick that I don't know how to do because it's an outdated trick. Back in Cody's day, you were supposed to do a shield bump out of bounds at the very start of the level, from which you can then do out of bounds platforming to get to the Keys room. It turns a 20-minute level on Legendary into a 3 to 4 minute level.
But why can't you do the shield bump?
It's just extremely difficult.
Okay.
What do you mean, why can't he do the shield bump? He can hardly shoot his gun at the enemies. In fact, most of the time he doesn't even do that because he swaps off with a Magnum. So obviously he's not even going to try to do a trick. That's just so far out of the realm of possibility at this point in the run. I am surprised anyone even bothered asking him that question.
After a third death at the very start, once again he's playing on normal, he finally makes it to the bridge. I will give Cody credit for this.
Solid, and then I still love the arrow that was pointed at us when we were driving.
Yeah.
The arrow that went like this.
He nailed that 360. And that's Cody's run, just under 4 hours and 17 minutes.
I skipped a lot here from Cody struggling as well as just completely floundering and fumbling everything. He hypes himself up as being good at the last level, and at the time he had the world record here. And this is something that covered very well in Rocket Sloth's video that I found super interesting. So Cody cheated to get that world record using something that was impossible to do legitimately at the time, but he held that record for a long time because it was deemed unbeatable due to Cody having this supposedly lucky run, even though it turns out it was cheated. Cody eventually admitted to cheating everything, or not even everything, I think just most things. And this run will just go down in history as, I think, GDQ's weakest fart. It's not even so cringe that you'd see a lot of viral clips from it. It's 4 hours and 17 minutes of agony, actual pain and suffering that they just needed to pull the plug on, but they didn't. And now it's led to a rule where they can and will, should something like this ever happen again. Cody Miller's legacy is one of shame, I would say, where not only was he a prolific cheater in the Halo speedrunning community, but he put on, I think, undoubtedly, the worst GDQ run to ever be broadcast. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit, and I think Frog did an amazing job covering this. I hadn't seen pretty much anything that Frog showcased here. I had only watched bits and pieces of the run throughout the years because I wasn't going to watch all 4 hours of this shit. It's crazy to do that. But luckily, Frog did. And that is so commendable. I really appreciate Frog for making that video. I highly recommend you check out the channel. So yeah, absolute pleasure to finally see just how bad Cody Miller's infamous Halo CE speedrun was. That's about it. See ya.